You call yourself free, but look at your life. If your time is not your own, if your money controls your choices, if you dread the cost of tomorrow, you are not free, you are leased. And no man ever became rich while still in chains. What I am about to give you are not ideas, but laws. 11 laws that, if obeyed, will shatter the cage and put you in command of your life. Stay with me, and freedom will become your new normal. But I must tell you something more. Within this speech, somewhere, perhaps in the second law, or perhaps in the 11th, there is a key, a hidden key, a silent principle that, once seen, once understood, once applied, will unlock not only your finances, but your future. I will not name it outright. I will not draw a red circle around it. For this key is not for the man who merely listens. It is for the man who studies, who thinks, who searches. Just as I once spoke of the secret passed from Carnegie to the world, not in plain words, but between the lines, so too I pass this key to you now. You will find it if you are ready. And if you are ready, you will never again be poor or hesitant or enslaved by circumstance. Let others listen casually. Let others drift away. But if you will give yourself fully to this message, if you will lean in word by word, principle by principle, then one day soon you will awaken to a truth, that you have become one of the few who are no longer bound by the economy, by opinion, by fear, or by time. You will be a free man, a rich man, a master over life. Introduction. You are not free if you fear your bank account. You are not free if your time belongs to someone else. You are not free if your decisions are made not by your desire, but by your debt. You are not free if you lie awake at night wondering if your money will last until the end of the month. You are not free if your mind is still enslaved by the thought, what will happen if I fail? Do not deceive yourself with slogans or illusion. A man is not free simply because he can move his limbs or speak his mind. True freedom is the ability to think independently, to act without hesitation, to possess resources enough to fulfill your purpose without waiting for permission. If money must say yes before you say yes to life, then you are not a master. You are a beggar in disguise. And let me say clearly, unlimited money is not a fantasy. It is not a miracle. It is not the reward of luck, or birth, or charm. It is the natural consequence of obeying eternal law. The laws I speak of are not of governments or corporations. They are the laws that built every fortune in history. The laws that governed Edison, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, Schwab, and Lincoln. Poverty is not only material, it is mental. It is a state of being that begins in thought, is sustained by habit, and is strengthened by fear. It is a prison of your own mind. And just as a man may build a cell with his own hands, so too may he build the key to escape it. That key is spiritual law, backed by daily application. Now I will give you 11 laws, and not one of them is optional. These are not suggestions for better living. These are not techniques for mild improvement. These are the laws that govern freedom itself. If you obey them, money will follow you. Time will submit to you. Circumstance will bend in your direction, and freedom will no longer be a distant dream. It will be the very condition in which you breathe. But I must warn you, these laws are not soft. They are not warm words to soothe you in your indecision. They are sharp. They are straight. They divide the man who is serious from the man who merely wishes. And somewhere in the words that follow, perhaps in the 6th law or maybe the 9th, there lies a key not handed to you but hidden in plain sight. I will not tell you its name. I will not stop to point at it. I will speak it once, twice, perhaps 10 times, but only he who is ready will hear it. For that is the price of freedom. It must be earned in thought before it is received in substance. Let others listen and forget. Let others nod and do nothing. But you, if you are ready, you must listen not with your ears, but with your spirit. You must hear between the words. You must be hungry, alert, attentive, For I will speak as plainly as thunder, and thunder awakens only those who are not already asleep. Every law I share has produced millions for men who began with nothing. Not one of them was rich when I met them, but all of them became rich because they obeyed. And let me say that word again, obeyed. For obedience is the bridge between knowledge and power. You may admire a law, you may memorize a law, you may discuss a law with great enthusiasm. But if you do not obey it, the law will not serve you. It will rule you through someone else. In a world of free men and rich men, most will choose to admire and complain. They admire those who possess wealth, yet complain when life withholds it from them. They are too proud to submit, yet too weak to create. That is why the chain remains unbroken. And so I say, stay with me through every law. Not one is expendable. Not one can be skipped. For a man is not free while even one link remains around his mind. Miss one, and the chain remains unbroken. These laws will demand your full attention. They will ask you to confront yourself. They will require your action. But if you submit to them, if you practice them daily, they will turn your name into a name that means something, a name respected, a name remembered, a name attached to results. You will not only have money, you will command it. You will not only have time, you will possess it. You will not only escape fear, you will dominate it. So I ask you to repeat these words, not as a listener, but as a man now crossing the line into power. I was born to be rich and free. I obey eternal laws and receive unlimited money. Say them again, for repetition is how truth is planted and how belief is built. I was born to be rich and free. I obey eternal laws and receive unlimited money. Now fix your attention. Let the noise fall away. The first law is approaching, and with it, the beginning of the end of your old life. Let us begin. Law 1, the law of definite purpose. Freedom begins where definiteness begins. The man who is indefinite in purpose, who walks without direction, who wanders through life without a written goal, is always in bondage. Bondage to confusion, to circumstance, to the will of stronger minds. You may call yourself free. You may speak of ambition. You may even work with diligence. But if you do not possess a clearly defined aim, written, spoken, and pursued daily, then your effort is scattered like dust in the wind. And the results will be the same, empty, directionless, subject to chance. A man without a definite purpose is like a ship without a rudder. The wind may blow, the sails may rise, but he will drift endlessly until some wave, not of his choosing, throws him against the rocks. This is how most men live. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse busyness with creation. But only the man who knows where he is going can be said to be moving forward. All freedom begins with a definite aim. During the 25 years I spent under the direction of Andrew Carnegie, interviewing and analyzing over 500 of the most successful men in the world, I discovered this truth. Not one of them was indefinite. Every single one had a chief aim in life, a purpose greater than comfort, clearer than applause, more enduring than circumstance. I spoke with Ford, who said plainly, "I will motorize the world." He did not say, "I want to be rich." He said, "This is the service I will render. This is the difference I will make. This is the aim I will fulfill." Rockefeller did not rise by ambition alone. He wrote and followed a strict purpose. He planned for decades, not days. He knew what he would do, how he would do it, and what he would gain in return. Lincoln, born in poverty and raised in obscurity, declared his purpose early, to preserve the Union and free the enslaved. And every step of his life aligned with that goal. He was not ruled by popularity. He was ruled by purpose. A man cannot rise above his aim. He may temporarily earn, but he will never endure. He may temporarily shine, but he will never stay alight unless he burns from a central fire. That fire is definite chief aim. And so I ask you now, what is your purpose? What is your aim? Do not answer quickly. Do not recite what others have said. You must know this in your soul and write it with your own hand. If your aim is not definite, it is not yet alive. If it is not written, it is not yet real. Let me now give you the formula, simple in language but powerful in law. This is the same formula that led to hundreds of fortunes. Do not skim it, study it, obey it, repeat it until it becomes a part of you. The definite chief aim formula. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Do not say, I want plenty. Say, I will have $100,000, or I will earn $1 million. The subconscious mind responds only to precision. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return. There is no such thing as something for nothing. What product, service, or value will you provide to earn what you seek? Establish a definite date by which you intend to possess the money you desire. A goal without a deadline is merely a hope. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not. The man who waits for perfect conditions never begins. Write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, the time limit, the service you will give, and your plan. Write it daily. Carry it with you. Read your written statement aloud twice daily, once in the morning, once before bed, with belief, with emotion, and with total conviction. If you obey this formula with sincerity and with consistency, you will awaken powers within you that have long slept. Life will begin to align around your direction. Doors will appear. Resources will surface, but only in response to your definiteness. Let me speak to you plainly. Drifting is the great killer of success. Drifting is subtle. It feels like harmless delay, like patient planning. But it is poison. Each day you drift is a day stolen from your fortune, a day stolen from your freedom. Indefiniteness weakens. It scatters thought. It dilutes emotion. It causes fear. And fear is the forerunner of defeat. The man who does not know what he wants cannot expect the world to deliver anything of worth. The man who drifts becomes a slave. He serves the definite plans of those who do not. He obeys the calendar of others. He earns only what others allow. He lives a small life because he has written no larger one for himself. I urge you now, choose your aim. Not tomorrow, not when it feels convenient. Choose it now. Write it now. Print it so clearly that your mind sees it, your hand remembers it, and your voice repeats it daily. You cannot afford to guess at life. You must declare your destination, and then you must walk toward it like a man who expects arrival. Do not say, I will try. Say, I will. Do not say, I hope. Say, I command. Speak like a man who knows the law is on his side, and act like a man who is certain that riches are responding. Affirm now, I know exactly what I want. I have written my aim and I serve it daily. Say it again. I know exactly what I want. I have written my aim and I serve it daily. These are not mere words. These are commands to your subconscious. These are signals to infinite intelligence. These are the new laws of your internal world, and soon your external world must match them. Now begin. If you have not written your purpose, write it before the hour ends. Read it aloud tonight. Begin tomorrow as a man of aim, and you will walk in a direction most men never find. You have passed the first gate. Let us continue. Law 2. The law of faith applied to wealth. No man is free who doubts his right to be rich. He may speak of liberty, of ambition, of potential, but if inwardly he questions whether he deserves prosperity, he has already surrendered the crown. He is a ruler who bows before his own fear. He is a prisoner locked in a cell of invisible bars. Freedom requires faith, not blind hope, not passive optimism, but a living, breathing belief that you were born with the divine right to command wealth. Without this faith, all plans fall limp. Without it, all action is hollow. Without it, you may labor for years and yet receive only scraps where gold was waiting. Faith is the unseen cause of all visible riches. It is the element that turns the spark of desire into the fire of attainment. It is the bridge from thought to substance, from plan to possession. No fortune has ever endured without it. No legacy has ever stood without its foundation. You may possess talent, you may possess a plan, you may even possess resources, but if you lack faith, you will retreat at the first resistance. You will shrink at the first failure. You will give up when the gold lies only inches away. Let me tell you of a man who possessed such faith, Charles M. Schwab. He was not born into riches, he had no royal blood, but he had what every great man must eventually build: faith in his vision and faith in himself. Schwab, at a young age, caught the attention of Andrew Carnegie, not merely because of his intellect, but because of his belief. He carried himself as a man who expected to lead. He spoke with certainty. He thought in terms of empire. When Carnegie began to plan the formation of the United States Steel Corporation, it was Schwab who gave voice to the vision, and he did so with such conviction that the enterprise was launched under his leadership. That single act of belief created one of the greatest industrial empires in history, and with it, Schwab's own fortune. Not because he waited, not because he asked timidly, but because he believed, and that belief moved others into action. Now I ask you, what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about money, about your power, about your future? Do you see wealth as something foreign, something reserved for the fortunate few, or do you declare it as your birthright? Understand this: faith is not something you wait to feel. It is something you build. You construct it with repetition, with affirmation, with mental discipline. The man who says, "I do not have faith," is merely confessing that he has not trained his belief. How do you train faith? Through autosuggestion. This is the daily, deliberate act of speaking your belief aloud, so often and with such emotion that your subconscious begins to accept it as fact. It is the tool by which every weak man becomes strong, and every strong man becomes unstoppable. You must declare your purpose aloud twice daily, morning and night. You must state the amount of money you intend to possess, the plan by which you will acquire it, and the date by which it will be yours. You must say it with emotion, with certainty, with vivid imagination. At first you will feel resistance. Your old self will mock the new, but repetition is stronger than doubt, and repetition with feeling is stronger than fear. Let no man tell you faith is passive. Faith is the most aggressive force in the world. It does not sit. It does not beg. It does not hope. It declares, it commands, it acts. But let me warn you, just as faith is power, doubt is bondage. Doubt whispers softly, but it binds tightly. It says, maybe not you. It says, what if you fail? It says, better be realistic. And if you listen to it, you will live on crumbs while kings feast. Doubt is slavery. Faith is freedom. The moment you say, I believe, you break the chains. The moment you say, I will, your hands are loosed. The moment you say, it is mine, your feet begin to move toward it. Repeat this daily. I believe I was born to command money. What I believe, I receive. Say it again, not as poetry, but as truth. Speak it until it becomes your tone, until you forget how to speak like a poor man, until every cell in your body responds to those words with obedience. Faith transforms the weak man into a force. It makes the unseen become seen. It causes plans to materialize, people to appear, and circumstances to align in ways logic cannot explain. When I studied the lives of the rich and free, I looked for differences in schooling, in upbringing, in intelligence. But again and again, the dividing line was this: the rich believed. They believed early, they believed often, and they believed with all their soul. You must do the same. Stop waiting for outside signs. Faith must be chosen before the evidence arrives. This is the test. This is the requirement. This is the law. You say, I will believe it when I see it. Number, you will see it when you believe it. Faith is not the result, it is the cause. It is not the fruit, it is the root. If your root is weak, your fortune will rot. If your root is strong, your wealth will stand through storms. So I say to you, Build your faith daily. Water it with repetition. Feed it with imagination. Strengthen it with emotion. Guard it from doubters. Protect it from delay. Say again, I believe I was born to command money. What I believe, I receive. Let these be your daily armor. Let them be your shield. Speak them as often as you breathe, and you will become the man who no longer hopes for riches, but expects them. Now, take your written purpose. Speak it aloud this evening. Close your eyes and see it, feel it. Walk through the future as though it already belongs to you. That is how you awaken faith. That is how you build belief. And that is how the money comes, by law, not luck. Let us continue. Law 3, the law of burning desire. Desire is the soul of freedom. Without it, no man can rise, no fortune can be summoned, no empire can be built. The world is filled with men who wish, who hope, who dream idly in silence. And yet, they remain poor, because desire did not set their spirit on fire. Let me be clear. No man becomes rich by idle wishing. No man ever attained greatness by lukewarm interest. The universe does not respond to whispers of hope. It answers only to those whose thoughts burn with such intensity that nothing, not delay, not criticism, not defeat, can extinguish the fire. There is a vast difference between a vague hope and a burning obsession. A man who hopes says, I would like to be rich someday. A man who burns says, I will become rich, and I will not stop until I do. One is a child's fantasy, the other is a spiritual decree. Only the latter has the power to command gold. Desire is not the beginning of the journey. It is the engine that drives the entire train. It must be so hot, so alive, so vivid in your mind, that every thought, every step, and every breath draws you closer to the life you are determined to possess. Let me tell you of a man who understood this. Edwin C. Barnes. He had no money. He had no reputation. He had no advantage but one: a burning desire to become the business partner of Thomas Edison. Not an employee, not a salesman, a partner. To the average man, such an aim would sound impossible. Barnes had no invitation, no education, no credentials. But what he had was a decision, backed by burning desire. And so he boarded a freight train, not a luxury car, not a coach, a freight train, and traveled across the country to stand before Edison. When he arrived, he did not stammer, he did not beg. He looked Mr. Edison in the eye and declared his intent. He would become his partner. Edison later said, there was something in the expression of his face, something which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after. Barnes did not get the partnership that day, but he stayed. He took whatever work was given. He worked for little, but thought of millions. He dusted floors, but saw offices. He packed boxes, but spoke as a man of wealth and training. For years, his title did not change, but his desire never cooled. He spoke his aim aloud each day. He pictured himself seated across from Edison in business discussion. He let no doubt enter his mind. His desire had closed the door to failure, and then it came. Edison launched a new invention, the Edison dictating machine. His salesmen did not believe in it, but Barnes did. He saw what they could not see. He asked for the right to sell it. He received it. He sold it with such fire that the invention spread across the country. That was the turning point. Barnes became Edison's business partner, not because of luck, but because he burned longer than any obstacle could resist. This is not romance. This is not myth. This is law. The world makes way for the man whose desire is definite and whose purpose is white hot. Now I ask you, how hot is your desire? If you say you want wealth, but you do not rise early for it, speak of it daily, plan around it, and act upon it, then your desire is still a flicker. It must become a fire. You must visualize your aim until it becomes more real to you than your current condition. See it in your mind. See the house. See the office. See the sum written in your ledger. Feel the weight of the gold in your hand before the world gives you a coin. Desire becomes effective only when it is emotionalized, when it is spoken with passion, pictured with faith, and pursued with action. Every morning, read your definite aim aloud, not as a recital, but as a command. Read it as though the money is already on its way, as though your name is already known, as though the freedom is already yours. Each night before you sleep, repeat it again. Your subconscious never rests. And when you feed it burning words with burning images, it begins to obey without resistance. Let me offer you the formula again, simple yet mighty. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Determine what you will give in return. Set a definite date. Create a plan and act now. Write a clear statement. Read it aloud twice daily with belief. Do not alter the steps. Do not delay. Do not say, I already know this. Knowing is not the key. Burning is. You must become obsessed, not amused. You must be consumed, not casually interested. Desire is the fuel. Planning is the vehicle. Action is the road. But it is desire that moves the engine. Say aloud, my desire is definite. My fire will not go out. I am obsessed with freedom and riches. Say it again. Let your voice convince your mind. Let your mind command your body. Let your body follow through until desire becomes a possession. There is no such thing as failure for the man who refuses to stop. Barnes could have gone home. He could have listened to those who laughed. He could have said, maybe someday. But he stayed and he burned, and so he rose. You must now do the same. Write your desire in full. Speak it morning and night. Visualize the results daily, and act as if the fortune were already yours. Desire must burn until life gives in, until doors open, until resistance bows, until your world changes, and your bank account bears the proof. This is not mysticism. This is movement. This is the fire by which riches are born. Let us continue. Law 4, the law of specialized knowledge. There is no such thing as true wealth without usefulness, and there is no such thing as usefulness without specialized knowledge. The man who is free is never general. He knows more about something than most men know about anything. He does not dabble. He does not guess. He does not rely on common sense alone. He studies. He refines. He acquires what others overlook. He becomes irreplaceable, not because he knows everything, but because he knows something specifically, and he knows it well. The world pays in exact proportion to what you know, how well you know it, and how well you apply it. Knowledge alone is not power. Only applied knowledge can be converted into money and freedom. Let me say it again. It is not what you know that makes you rich. It is what you can do with what you know that the world rewards. There are libraries filled with dead knowledge, wisdom that enriches no one because no one applied it. Now let me tell you a story, one you may know but perhaps never studied deeply. Henry Ford was once ridiculed in the press as an uneducated man. A newspaper published an article implying that he was ignorant, unfit to influence public affairs. Ford responded with a lawsuit. In court, the attorney for the newspaper sought to prove his lack of education by asking a series of questions, a test of historical facts and classical knowledge. After several attempts to humiliate him, Ford leaned forward and said this, "If I should really want to answer the foolish questions you have just asked, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk. By pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I am devoting most of my efforts." With that statement, Ford revealed a profound truth. He did not need to possess all knowledge. He needed to possess or organize specialized knowledge toward his definite purpose. And that is precisely what he did. He paid for every piece of knowledge he lacked. He surrounded himself with engineers, chemists, accountants, and planners who completed his vision. His skill was not memorization. It was mobilization. He knew where he was going, he knew what was required, and he acquired the exact knowledge necessary to reach his destination. That is the law of specialized knowledge in action. Now let me speak directly to you. If your aim is freedom, then you must master something the world considers valuable. Not everything, something. The man who knows little about many things is interesting at dinner but powerless in the marketplace. But the man who knows much about a single thing and applies it well is never without opportunity. You must either become an expert or hire one. If you seek to build wealth through real estate, learn the laws of property, of leverage, of markets. If your fortune lies in commerce, master pricing, marketing, systems. If your riches are to be drawn through invention or technology, then study design, development, distribution. You must not dabble. You must not rely on enthusiasm alone. The man who would become rich must organize knowledge toward a definite chief aim and convert it into action. Let me give you a rule that will guide you well. All knowledge becomes power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed toward a definite end. Read that again and again, then apply it. You must ask yourself, what do I need to know? Where can I get it? Who already has it? What action must I take to begin applying it this week? Perhaps you are not yet a master, but you can become one. Or you can assemble the minds that possess what you lack. That is how empires are built, not through pride, but through precision. Do not confuse education with wisdom. Schools may give you theory, but wealth is built by those who translate relevant knowledge into measurable gain. Ford had no diploma, but he had specialized knowledge and the boldness to act on it. Do not fear what you do not know. Fear only not pursuing what you must know. You are free the moment your knowledge matches your purpose, and you become rich the moment your knowledge is applied with consistency and service. Let us now put this into practice. Write down your definite purpose. Beneath it, list the exact areas of knowledge required to fulfill it. Circle what you know. Identify what you must learn. Then schedule how you will acquire it. By book, by mentor, by experience, or by hiring. This act alone will separate you from 90% of men. You are not on earth to float. You are here to fulfill a calling. And the calling demands competence. The calling demands mastery. The calling demands you specialize in value. Say aloud, I specialize in value. I command riches through usefulness. Say it again. I specialize in value. I command riches through usefulness. Let these words become your compass. Let them guide your energy, your study, your action. Let them burn into your subconscious until every hour is spent sharpening your worth. You must no longer fear information. You must seek it, structure it, and use it. You must no longer chase every interest. You must dig one well until water comes. Riches reward depth, not distraction. Now go, become an expert, or find one. But make knowledge serve your fortune. Let us continue. Law 5, the law of mastermind alliance. No man has ever achieved complete freedom alone. The self-made man is a myth. The great man is not a solo act. He is the conductor of a symphony of minds, each one playing its part in perfect harmony. Riches respond not to isolation, but to alliance, to the deliberate and disciplined merging of minds in a common purpose. If you desire wealth, lasting, multiplying, liberating wealth, then you must surround yourself with other minds tuned to your vision. You must form a mastermind alliance, a spiritual and mental partnership among two or more individuals aligned in thought, belief, and purpose. You will never rise far above the mental environment you permit around you. If you walk among the vague, you will become indefinite. If you share your ideas with doubters, you will weaken your conviction. But if you meet weekly, daily, if possible, with a group of loyal minds, each believing, each thinking, each planning toward the definite chief aim, then the force that moves mountains will begin to move for you. I have said this before and I say it again. 1 + 1 is not 2 in the realm of achievement. 1 + 1 is 11 when purpose is shared. Now let me tell you of a man who mastered this law, Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie built a steel empire so vast that even his enemies had to admire it. He was not the most intelligent man in every room. He was not a chemist. He was not a metallurgist. He was not an engineer. But he had the wisdom to surround himself with men who were, and to unify those minds toward a definite end. He said plainly, "I can do nothing alone." And yet, with others, he did what had never been done. He brought together minds of invention, of calculation, of administration, and through organized harmony, he turned thought into steel and steel into gold. The Mastermind Alliance was not casual. It was not social. It was spiritual. For when two or more minds come together in perfect harmony, there is released a third invisible force, a higher intelligence that none of the members possess alone. This is no mere idea. This is no metaphor. I have seen it with my own eyes. Ideas appear that were not present before. Energy increases. Problems melt. Intuition sharpens. When minds unite around a definite aim with loyalty and clarity, infinite intelligence steps into the room. You must now do the same. You must form a council, a group of men or women who share your belief in purpose, your hunger for freedom, your loyalty to progress. You must meet with them regularly. You must speak openly, plan specifically, and hold one another accountable. This is not friendship. This is alliance. There is a difference. A friend may console your weakness. An ally will not tolerate it. A friend may excuse your drift. An ally will demand your return to purpose. A mastermind is not formed to make you comfortable. It is formed to make you powerful. Let me be precise. Your mastermind must be built around these 5 pillars. Harmony of purpose. All members must believe in growth, in progress, in the pursuit of definite aim. Loyalty of mind. There must be no envy, no sabotage, no hidden agenda. The alliance dies where ego enters. Frequency of contact. The bond must be strengthened regularly. Meet weekly. Speak often. Review goals. Share progress. Clarity of roles. Know who brings what. Know who is learning, who is leading, who is executing. Persistence of spirit. The group must endure storms together. When one falls, the others lift. When one doubts, the others affirm. If you lack this in your life, your wealth will be slow, your ideas will grow dim, your motion will weaken. But with a true mastermind, your capacity will stretch, your income will rise, your mind will sharpen, your influence will expand. Remember, isolation is the domain of the poor. Association is the province of the rich. The man who tries to carry all burdens alone collapses beneath the weight. The man who surrounds himself with aligned minds carries the world on his shoulders and still walks with ease. Now ask yourself, who inspires me? Who sharpens me? Who believes in my definite aim? Who will grow with me, not drain me? Seek these people, invite them with purpose. State your intention clearly. Build the alliance like you would build a bank vault with strength and precision, for this alliance will guard your future. Say aloud, I surround myself with loyal minds. Together we build the fortune. Say it again. I surround myself with loyal minds. Together we build the fortune. Let these affirmations drive your attention toward the right people. Let them dissolve your attachment to small thinkers. Let them clear the space for greatness to enter. Do not delay. Begin forming your mastermind today, even if it begins with one man. Even if you must meet by letter or call or thought, begin it now. For you will never know your full power until it is magnified by unity. You were not made to rise alone. You were made to build with others. Now, build your circle and let the world witness your rise. Let us continue. Law 6, the law of decisive action. Freedom favors speed. Opportunity does not linger. Money does not wait. Power does not serve the hesitant. In every age, the man who moves first moves farthest, and the man who hesitates becomes the servant of those who do not. Indecision is the cradle of bondage. It may appear harmless, it may appear thoughtful, but its cost is hidden, not in what it takes, but in what it steals. It steals time. It steals courage. It steals fortune. And worst of all, it steals identity. A man who cannot decide is a man who cannot command. He may be educated, he may be gifted, he may even be well-meaning, but if his will is weak, his results will be poor. Let me tell you plainly, the rich decide quickly and change slowly. The poor decide slowly and change often. This is not opinion, this is observation. I saw it in Carnegie, I saw it in Ford, I saw it in every man whose name now means something in the world. Now consider John D. Rockefeller. He built the largest private fortune in the history of his time, not because he had more oil, but because he had more will. When opportunity appeared, he moved. When others hesitated, he acted. When decisions had to be made, he made them and stood by them. He did not wait for all conditions to be favorable. He did not wait for others to understand. He moved when others paused. And because of that, he became master of his field. Not just a participant, but a ruler. The same was true of Henry Ford. When advised by his board that the public was not ready for an automobile affordable to the common man, he did not debate. He decided. He committed to building the Model T. He changed the world because he moved first and moved fully. What made them wealthy was not merely industry. It was not mere vision. It was their capacity to decide boldly and act without delay. You must now do the same. The man who waits for perfect clarity never moves. The man who asks every man's opinion becomes paralyzed. The man who thinks too long without acting loses the fire, and with it, the fortune. You do not need to know everything to decide. You need only know your purpose and act in alignment with it. Your mind is designed to obey the orders you give it. When you hesitate, you confuse it. When you delay, you instruct it to fear. But when you decide and follow with action, you ignite the subconscious and command resources into motion. The universe itself rewards the decisive. It delivers only to the man who acts, not the one who watches. You must become the man who moves with purpose, even before he feels ready. Do not say, "Let me think about it." Say, "Here is my decision, and here is what I will do now." The man who trains his mind to act becomes the man others follow. Now I give you a law that must govern your will. Decide quickly, correct slowly, delay nothing, execute immediately. You will not always be right. But the man who decides and acts will learn in motion. He will grow through experience. And experience, backed by movement, builds a mind no hesitation can control. Let me speak to your hesitation directly. You say, "But what if I choose wrongly?" I answer, "Then you adjust and advance." But if you choose nothing, you have already lost. There is no wealth for the man who stands still. You say, "But I do not know enough." I say, learn while moving. Action teaches what contemplation never will. You say, what if others disagree? I say, let them. But you must lead yourself before others will follow you. You must act. Act today. Act now. If you have written your definite chief aim, take a step toward it before the day ends. Even a small step taken boldly is worth more than 1,000 intentions. Opportunity bows only to decisiveness. The world opens for the man who walks forward. It closes for the man who waits. Repeat these words aloud. I act when others pause. Money moves toward my decisions. Say them again. I act when others pause. Money moves toward my decisions. Let these phrases burn into your will. Let them become the law of your movement. Let them drown out every whisper of fear, every temptation to delay. Build the habit of fast, focused movement. Wake up and act. Write your goal and act. Hear a good idea and act. See a window open and leap through it. The universe does not reward the thinker, it rewards the doer. This is not to say you must act recklessly. Number your decisions must align with your definite purpose, but they must not be delayed. Thought without action is self-deception. Planning without motion is illusion. The wealthiest men I interviewed moved in hours what others could not move in months. They built their confidence not from having all the answers, but from building momentum. Momentum becomes power, power becomes influence, influence becomes wealth. And all of it begins with one decision followed by one action. Do not wait for certainty. Create it. Certainty is the reward of obedience to purpose, not the prerequisite for action. Repeat. I move with courage. I move with speed. I trust my direction. Each decision I make builds my wealth. Let hesitation die here. Let the old self, the doubter, the waverer, the excuse maker be buried today. From this moment forward, let decisiveness govern your behavior. Let motion replace fear. Let action replace delay. Every fortune began with a decision. Let yours begin now. Let us continue. Law 7, the law of organized planning. Desire without a plan is a lie. A man may say he wants freedom. He may speak often of riches. He may repeat affirmations and think great thoughts. But if he does not sit down and write out a plan to achieve the thing he claims to want, then he has deceived himself. He is not a man of purpose. He is a dreamer. And dreamers without plans build nothing. They leave behind no monuments, no fortunes, no legacy, only wishes that vanished with time. The man who wants freedom must draft the steps that will secure it. He must not trust to memory or to mood or to luck. He must transfer his desire from the realm of emotion into the realm of execution. And that requires a written plan, outlined in ink, refined by reflection, and adjusted in action. Every great fortune I studied had a blueprint behind it. Not one of the wealthy men I interviewed rose by accident. Not one of them relied on haphazard motion. They planned, they wrote, they reviewed, they executed. Rockefeller had ledgers so precise they revealed not only income and outflow, but future projections based on planned expansion. Carnegie had systems and councils of planning minds, all aligned to definite ends. Ford structured his entire model of production around plans written, revised, and obeyed. They did not merely labor, they labored with design. A rich man is not merely a hard worker. He is a precise worker. He does not leave the results of his life to the chaos of chance. You must now do the same. If you have written your definite chief aim, the next step is to construct the bridge from desire to attainment. That bridge is your organized plan. It is your roadmap to wealth. It is the tool by which castles are carved from clay. You must sit down and answer these questions. What is the exact amount of money I desire? What will I do to earn it? What steps must I take this month to bring it nearer? What must I do this week? What will I do today? This is not guesswork. This is war preparation. The man who prepares for nothing wins nothing. Let me now show you how to write your plan. Step 1. Start from the top. Write your definite chief aim at the top of the page, the exact amount, the date, the service or product you will exchange. This must be burned into your mind. Place it before your eyes daily. Step 2. Identify required knowledge and partners. What do you need to know? What skills must you develop? What people must you involve? Wealth is never built in a vacuum. If you lack what is needed, write how you will gain it. Step 3. Break the dream into projects. Divide your goal into major projects. These are the pillars of the bridge. Each should have its own timeline and its own action steps. Make no project without assigning responsibility. Step 4. Break projects into weekly tasks. Ask, what must I do this week to move one step closer? Reduce big objectives into simple, visible action. Call supplier. Hire accountant. Write landing page. This is where motion begins. Step 5. Assign daily action. Your daily list is your battlefield. Keep it short, exact, and centered on what builds income, impact, or infrastructure. End each day knowing you advanced, even if by inches. That which is not scheduled will not happen. That which is not measured will not improve. That which is not reviewed will not endure. You must become the manager of your own mind, the architect of your own freedom. Do not trust your memory. Memory is subject to mood. Write, post, track, review. The man who writes his plan commands his day. The man who improvises is ruled by impulse and distraction. I have no respect for the man who says, I don't need to plan. I just go with the flow. That man is poor, or soon will be. He may have talent, he may even work hard, but without a written plan, his effort is like steam without a piston, energy scattered into air. Let me speak directly to you now. If you have not written a plan toward your financial aim, you are still wandering. You are still drifting. You are still living on emotion, not structure. Your desire is not yet real. Freedom demands structure. Money responds to direction. Success honors precision. Until your desire becomes a daily system of execution, it will not bear fruit. Say this aloud. I build my wealth on a written plan. My plan turns thought into treasure. Say it again. I build my wealth on a written plan. My plan turns thought into treasure. Let these words burn away the laziness that delays great men. Let them remove the fog of unstructured ambition. Do not fear imperfection. Your plan will not be perfect. It does not need to be. It must only be written, specific, and actionable. You will refine it in motion. As you act, clarity will increase, but without a first plan, there can be no refinement. Even a poor plan executed daily will outpace a brilliant idea left floating in the clouds. Let others speak of dreams. You build yours. Each morning, review your written plan. Speak your aim aloud. Set your 3 most vital actions. Block time for them. Execute with discipline. And at the day's end, measure your gain. Each week, review the full bridge. What is complete? What is delayed? What must be adjusted? What did you learn? This is how men rise from nothing. This is how empires are laid brick by brick. Repeat, I act on purpose, not by accident. Each line I write is a stone in my mansion. My plan is the structure of my freedom. Let the lazy mock your calendars. Let the average laugh at your notebooks. But one day, they will walk through buildings you built, admire companies you formed, and speak of your wealth while still wondering how you did it. You did it by planning, and now so will you. Let us continue. Law 8, the law of persistence. Freedom belongs to the man who will not quit. He may fall, he may falter, he may fail, but if he stands again and again with eyes fixed on the goal, no power on earth can deny him his fortune. The world may delay his prize, but it cannot withhold it forever. I have seen more men ruined by giving up too soon than by planning poorly. The cause of poverty is not always lack of opportunity, it is lack of endurance. Men give up just before the tide turns. They turn back at the final hill. They trade their dream for comfort, their vision for relief. Let me tell you a true story. A man I once knew had heard of a gold vein discovered out west. He invested all he had, purchased land, and began digging. At first, excitement fueled him. His hope was high. But after weeks of labor, with no sign of gold, he gave up. He sold the land and the equipment to a local junk man. That junk man, being no fool, brought in an expert to examine the ground. After brief calculations, the expert declared that gold lay just 3 feet from where the previous owner had stopped. The junk man resumed the digging and struck one of the richest veins in history. The first man stopped 3 feet from gold. He quit just before the miracle. His story became a warning passed from generation to generation. I tell you this now. If you stop short, you will never know how close you were. One more day, one more move, one more decision made in faith instead of fatigue. That may be all that separates the struggling from the wealthy. Most men confuse temporary defeat with permanent failure. They allow one closed door to define their future. They stop after the first no, the first delay, the first loss. They forget that every man of power has failed many times, but refused to remain down. Persistence is not emotion. It is habit. It is forged not in inspiration, but in repetition. The man who gets up at the same time, works the same hours, speaks the same belief, and moves toward his aim daily is a man the world cannot ignore. Do not trust how you feel in the moment. Feelings change with weather. Discipline remains. Emotion may fuel your start, but only repetition carries you to the end. You may not always feel strong, but you can act strong. You may not always feel certain, but you can move with certainty. The man who trains himself to act regardless of mood becomes a master over outcomes. Let me remind you, persistence is a decision. It is not given. It is chosen. You must say, I will go on no matter how long it takes, no matter how much it costs. That is the spirit that builds fortunes and breaks through limits. When I interviewed Henry Ford, I found in him a quiet persistence, a stubborn refusal to abandon his course. He was told his vision of mass production was impossible. Experts mocked him. Friends left him. Still, he continued. Today, the name Ford stands for more than cars. It stands for will. Every man I ever studied who achieved financial freedom had first passed through defeat. Not one was spared hardship. Not one was exempt from discouragement. But they all had one thing in common. They persisted. Now ask yourself, what would change in your life if you simply refused to quit? If every time you failed, you stood up again, stronger, wiser, more focused, how far would you be by now? You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to know it all. You need only to continue. Success belongs to those who last long enough to claim it. And let me give you a truth that may startle you. Persistence is more powerful than talent. The man of average ability, if he outlasts others, will surpass the brilliant who lack endurance. The race is not to the swiftest, it is to the steadiest. Now do not confuse persistence with stubbornness. A stubborn man refuses to change methods. A persistent man changes methods but never changes his goal. He is flexible in strategy but fixed in purpose. If one plan fails, he creates another. If one door closes, he finds a window. If one day exhausts him, he sleeps, recovers, and returns. Nothing can stop a man whose mind is made up that he cannot be stopped. Repeat these words aloud. I persist until I possess. I finish what I begin. Say them again. I persist until I possess. I finish what I begin. These are not mere phrases. They are armor. They are weapons against doubt, fatigue, and the slow poison of disappointment. Persistence must become your identity. Let your friends know you as the one who never quits. Let your family speak of your endurance. Let your enemies fear your refusal to stop. Even when all strength is gone, move an inch. Even when nothing is clear, take one step. Even when the dream feels distant, speak it aloud. Persistence is not about grand gestures. It is about refusing to go backward. Each day you persist, you become harder to defeat. Each hour you continue, you gather strength the lazy never feel. Each repetition carves your future deeper into reality. Write this truth down. The man who continues wins. Now put it where you can see it. On your wall, on your mirror, in your ledger. Let it become your commandment. Do not be among those who drift from goal to goal. Be the man who plants his flag and stays until the mountain moves. The man who finishes what he starts. Say it one more time. I persist until I possess. I finish what I begin. And now, do not simply nod. Apply. If you are in the middle of something, continue it. If you have quit something, return to it. If you are starting, decide now that you will not stop until it is done. That is the law. That is the mark of freedom. Let us continue. Law 9, the law of fear destruction. Fear is slavery. It is the most invisible, the most accepted, and the most destructive form of bondage known to man. It does not strike with violence. It whispers. It does not demand chains. It makes the man forge his own. No man is free while under its spell, and no man becomes rich until it is cast out. I have said it before, and I say it again. Fear is the tool of a man-made devil. It does not come from God. It is learned, practiced, and repeated until it becomes a belief. And that belief, once formed, governs behavior. It causes the capable to shrink. It causes the willing to wait. It turns kings into servants. In Outwitting the Devil, I revealed what fear truly is. Not a shadow, but a strategy. Fear is the method by which men are kept small, quiet, doubtful, and obedient to anything but their own purpose. It is the enemy of riches, the assassin of freedom, the great paralyzer of potential. There are 6 basic fears. I call them the 6 ghosts of fear because they are not real in substance, only in effect, but their effect is devastating. They haunt men from cradle to grave. Let us name them: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, the fear of death. But the 2 that keep most men in poverty are these: the fear of poverty itself and the fear of criticism. The fear of poverty causes hesitation. It whispers, "What if it doesn't work?" It says, "Be careful." It keeps a man quiet in negotiation, slow in action, and content with crumbs. The fear of criticism silences vision. It says, "They'll laugh at you." It says, "What will they think?" It keeps ideas locked in the mind and confidence locked in the heart. These 2 fears alone are enough to imprison a man for life, without bars, without guards, without walls. They make him build his own boundaries, obey his own limitations, and call it wisdom. You may have felt these fears before. Perhaps you feel them now. You want more, but something pulls you back. You speak boldly, but shrink when